Maybe. Y'all see the general meeting screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure everything I wasn't doing in the background was showing up for everyone else to see, you know. Might have some inappropriate, scary photos, you know. Hey, we're at our last meeting of the day. Robin Kearney Fraser with the Guilds of Requiem. We have with us tonight Mikey Gravely and Heather Rosh. We are to the general meeting. This is our last meeting of the day. It starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on the third Saturday of the month. We try to get all of our meetings done, boom, 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 boom. So we only have one day a month that we're worried about meetings versus several days a month that we're worried about different type of meetings and which meeting's happening this day, which meeting's happening that day. We have them all on one day, so it's that much easier. So going to do a quick recap of our previous meetings. We started out with the Homesteaders and Preppers Guild, and we talked about food preservation without power and the importance of practicing those skills now before you find yourself in a situation with no power. Our Space Station Requiem, we went over the top 10 scariest movies by gross sales, and we had a little snippet of a frightful tale from Analogs, a short story that will be up on the Space Station Requiem website probably later this week. I want to tweak a couple of things, add a few more pictures, you know, make it a little bit more dark and gloomy and scary. And then we had our discussions. We did not record because we got off track a lot and it was very boring and stagnant and, you know, real businessy and, you know, probably wouldn't have been a whole lot of fun for somebody to want to sit there for an hour and watch a video on us talking about different things. I prefer to record the videos that we have fun. So those were the highlights of the previous meetings. What else do we have come this month? Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Make sure you get that mammogram. Make sure you're doing your regular checks. Report to your doctor anytime something is unusual or disconcerting. We've only got one set. That's natural. And guys, this is important for you too. You have breasts. They may not be as big as the women, but you got them. So guess what? You could get breast cancer too. So check yourselves. If you're not sure how, okay. That was almost not PG-13. So
There are definitely educational videos on
yes,
YouTube.
there
I've
are
seen them.
educational
They're really
videos
good.
on how to do this, how to do a self-exam for women and for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Dysautonomia Awareness Month. We do have some posts happening on the Guardians Guild website as a part of our Haven of Requiem Healers Guild. Why is dysautonomia so important to the Guilds of Requiem? For most don't know this, but it was a 14-year-long battle for me to get a dysautonomia diagnosis. And unfortunately, it took COVID for doctors to be more aware of what happens from an acute viral infection that leads to this whole range of conditions that fall under the dysautonomia umbrella. It is very challenging to get diagnosed with one of those conditions. Some say that if you have one of them, you're considered having dysautonomia, which is a dysfunction of your autonomic system. Others say, no, you have to have 2 or 3 diagnoses. Well, I have 5. Between a combination of growing up with a compromised immune system, H1N1, and COVID, plus an auto accident, it has decimated my system pretty harshly. So whenever we have to cancel an event or cancel a meeting, please understand it's the last thing I want to do. I have spent the last 5 years fighting the disabled label. Most days I don't feel like I'm disabled and would like to work. And then there's other days like today where standing up for more than 10 minutes, a couple times I went down, having to sit for safety, taking time, drinking water, having to take time for self-care during the meetings, so that I could be here and be present. So that's kind of the downer. The up part of it is that I am now with a wonderful set of doctors that understand dysautonomia. They understand all of the conditions that fall under this umbrella term. And we are finally starting to see positive results, with the biggest hope being that I get my driver's license back. That is the goal for my neurologist for 2025, is for me to have my driver's license back. They don't think I'll ever be able to work for someone else again, but it would be kind of nice to be able to drive myself somewhere. Just saying. Yep.
I
Just a
definitely
little bit.
hear that.
On our Scholars Guild website, we are talking about National Book Month and Dare to Read banned books. That's a big topic of conversation with a lot of school districts right now. And if you look at that list, a lot of these are considered classics that were written to make you think. Is what it amounts to. I mean, some of them on there are Fahrenheit 481, 1984, Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer. Trying to remember some of the other books that are on there.
Isn't To
Kill
Kill a Mockingbird still
To
on
Kill
there?
a Mockingbird is still on there. Now, these aren't everywhere, but there are several states that have put them on their banned book list, which means you will not find them in a school library. You should still be able to find them in your public library. Always available online. We highly recommend to dare to read banned books as much as you can, because that's the only way you're going to keep your mind open to learning new things and seeing some pretty hard truths about history that we need to know, we need to understand, and we need to learn from, so we don't repeat.
Exactly.
Now, the fun part. We were just talking about short stories to scare your scales off. We got our little kids there and the dragon getting ready to tell them a bunch of spooky stories.
I love this picture. It is so cool.
I ain't going to tell you what I had to type for AI to get that out to me.
And like the little kid
You
has
had to type a whole short story, didn't you?
Yes, I do. To get some of these graphics, I have to, for the specific AI writer that AI generator that I use, you pretty much have to give it as much details as you possibly can. And some of them, I've shared some of my prompts on my personal timeline. They're short stories. There are short stories to get an image that I'm looking for. You know, even close to it. I mean, of course, I have some hilarious fails. You know, we're not going to say nothing about this, you know, weirdly placed arm right there, or that.
No, that's just his back leg. It's just oddly placed. He's
okay,
just
well, don't count the fingers on the little kid then.
Of course not. Or the toes, probably.
Well, I don't know. Those legs look a little bit short for him to be leaning forward.
And I was going to say, it's like the perfect picture for scary stories.
That's right. Because you got the little one wearing the scary cap, but take a look at the little one's feet.
That's what I was just looking at.
The one with the cap has an extra arm there.
Yep, we got an extra arm. We got some scary feet, you know.
Those aren't even hobbit feet. They're birds, except past the ankles.
Yep. So AI gets to be a lot of fun. Yes, I realize that it goes out and it basically borrows parts of images from everything that's out there on the internet. But you got to put the information in to get the information out. You know, same as when I'm doing art on my own, you know, designing clothes on my own, I'm taking pieces of a pattern from different patterns and putting them together as a new creation.
One of the first things I remember when learning about computers and input and output, garbage in, garbage out.
Yep. So what do we have here? Well, I'm going to start out with what we got black cats. Mine's hiding. I think mine's sleeping on the kitchen counter. Not on the counter where we have food, just to clarify. So Heather was regaling us with a story, and it reminded me of when I lived in a place in Flower Bluff, which is in Corpus Christi, Texas. We were in old military housing, quadplexes. And at the time, Alex was 2. Blonde-headed, bubbly, would sleep an hour or so, then be up running around for 2 hours. And I had just started dating my ex-husband, and we'd moved in for because it was more convenient for everybody to be in one house. And I hear him say, "Alex, you just need to go to bed." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, Alex is standing down at the end of our bed." And I'm like, "No, he's sleeping behind me." And I look down, and there's this little blonde head, and we hear giggles and laughs that goes into the bedroom. He's like, "Are you sure that's not Alex?" And I sat up and I pointed. He is sleeping between me and the wall. We didn't go back to sleep. It took us a little bit.
Wow.
I have a child story like that too. Same house as the story I told earlier. I woke up, I think my husband was out of town, and my bedroom is separated from the kids by the dining area.
Mhm.
And I hear pitter patter of feet. Thought for sure Aiden was up. "Aiden, come in here, please. Go ahead and come in here. Come cuddle with me." Then nothing. Okay, maybe he ran back to his room. So I get up, I go back to his room. He's in bed, obviously hasn't moved from his spot, fast asleep. I'm like, and that man in the flannel shirt and jeans that I saw too. It was like, and this was a brand new house.
So there's no residual energy from a previous occupant.
No, that's crazy.
House-wise, land-wise, maybe, but not the
Mhm.
house.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it was built on top of.
Could have been old farmland.
Could have been.
There's no telling.
Well,
I didn't bother. I didn't get around to looking up the history. I was just all like, okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What about you, Mikey? You got any spooky tales from?
So it's not actually mine, but now that we're talking about this, it brought back a memory. When me and my children were living up north in New York, and we were renting the top floor of this. Well, it's 4-story because there's a basement, first floor, second floor, attic. And I remember my daughter running back outside. She was freaking out, and I asked her what was going on. She had gone upstairs to get our cat that she wanted to bring outside to show the neighbors. Okay. And the cat was under the bed. So she apparently was climbing under the bed, and she felt like somebody sat on the bed. Nobody else was up there. She said when she came back out from under the bed, there was a little girl sitting on that bed asking her what she was doing.
That was me.
Well, I thought that was your sister.
No, that was me.
Okay, never mind. It was Ben.
It was Ben.
A dog?
Cat was under the bed scared.
Oh, okay. So see, I don't remember all the things. So apparently that little girl had a dog, and the cat had run under the bed because it was scared of the dog.
That same place, didn't they find like satanic stuff all over the house before they moved in, the downstairs neighbors?
Maybe. I don't remember. I don't know. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
I think that the downstairs neighbors found a whole bunch of satanic stuff when they moved in.
Painted on the back of one of the doors.
Yeah. See, there's things that I don't know about because the downstairs neighbor actually used to babysit them for me.
And did me and the downstairs neighbor boy had the same nightmare in the same night?
Yeah, I do remember that. Him and the downstairs neighbor kid both had the same nightmare the same night.
The house
Wow.
falling into
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that house had
Definitely a high energy house.
Well, and I was going to say too, because what I remember, the people we rented it from, when they lived there, they fostered a lot of children. And I think there was a couple of deaths in the house. But yeah, so yeah, now I remember it was Ben, not Farron. But yeah, he was scared. But yeah, and there, like in the house I grew up in, there were things that happened, but we attributed it to the person who actually got killed in the house before my family ever bought it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not messing with that. I did use a Ouija board once. It scared the crap out of my best friend.
Speaking of Ouija boards, Amy Jo, I don't know if you're watching this or not, or if you even remember when we went to Candace's sleepover party when we were 14. They pulled out the Ouija board. And the Ouija board said that I was going to be married to somebody with the letter M. I was 14. Matt, what's your name again? I don't know, that's scary, creepy, but that's one that makes you go, you know, maybe I'm going to leave one of those alone. I'm glad I never played with him since then.
Yeah. Did the Ouija board experiment at a sleepover when I was like 9?
Mm-hmm.
Never again.
Yeah. Well, no, I probably played with it a couple more times, but I didn't touch it. I let everyone else touch it.
Nobody would ever use it with me, so I never used it by myself. I won't use them by myself, obviously, but
Well, no.
I was always weird though, because it was my grandma mom that bought me a Ouija board for Christmas one year. Now, this is the woman who was like, you're going to church, you're going to get baptized. And I was like, I'll go to church, but I don't want to get baptized. But yeah, so she bought it for me for Christmas. My sister looked at her like, are you crazy? Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff happened in that house, and we're pretty sure it's because his spirit's still there. And to this day, I'm sure his spirit is still there.
Still there.
Because he got killed in our bathtub.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to go.
No, so that was the story
that
I
leaves
heard
a lot of energy.
Yeah. So I was like, that's the story that we heard growing up. And then of course we've seen things.
Mm-hmm.
My sister used to see the ghost of her dog walking through the house a lot. So, but yeah, read your story.
My story. Okay, we found this website called scoopwhoop.com, and they have a bunch of short, scary stories that were posted on Reddit. That there's 55 short horror stories and scary tales. So Mikey and I have gone through and we have picked out some of our favorite ones that are on there. And so the one that got me is called I Hate It When My Brother Charlie Has to Go Away. And it's by Horror in Pure Form. That's the name of the author. I'm thinking it's the Reddit user. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is. I am lucky to have a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering his confinement to a dark room in an institution. I always beg for them to give him one last chance. Of course, they did at first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats with gouged out eyes showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide in the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwashing tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes it easy for him to fake normalcy, and trick the doctors who care for him into thinking he's ready for rehabilitation. That I will just have to put up with my boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. Makes me have to pretend to be good until he's back.
I was like, oh my God, I so did not see that part coming.
Twist. I didn't see it coming either. I should have. Man.
Like, oh.
All right, Mikey, which was the one that you liked?
You know what? There were two, so give me a second. The thing is, they're both a little long.
Well, it's still
Not
a short
too
story.
long.
They're not whole novels.
True that. So one of the ones I liked was called Go to Bed. And this one was by Evan the Nerd 83. Jacob decided to stay at home when his mother went out. She told him to go to bed at 11, but unfortunately, he couldn't hear her over the sound of his music. Jacob haphazardly waved his mother goodbye as she closed the door. Jacob spent an hour and a half playing with his phone. Games, YouTube videos, movies, music. He even texted his best friend for a while until she no longer replied. He didn't pay attention or any attention to the time until his phone battery hit 10%. Jacob realized that his mother never called or texted him in all the time that he had his phone. Jacob sent her a text. Hey. No reply. He was confused as to why she wouldn't answer him. She always answered her phone. His confusion chilled into concern as night fell and midnight rose. He sent another, Mom, where are you? Again, no answer. Sweetie, a familiar voice rang out from behind the couch. It sounded like his mother's, but it wasn't. Not entirely. It was warped. Crinkling like folded tinfoil, Jacob jumped and spun around, only for a thick black hair to consume his sight. Why haven't you gone to bed? It was like he needed to drag that out just a little bit. But I can just picture this kid sitting on this couch and then like freaking out. I was like, So yeah, that's the one I read. So yeah.
Give me a second. I'm trying to find the other one that I liked.
How much longer?
What, does Ben have a scary one?
Do you have a scary story?
Yeah.
That way you don't have to, talk so much. He said yes.
Come on, man.
Okay. So happened back in about February, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had just gotten our mail. I'm going to open it up. And I got my taxes.
Oh.
Hey, Frodo.
Again.
I think you right in that bag.
Okay. It's horrible.
That's like a dad joke version of a scary story.
Exactly.
That's what I was just thinking. That's something my dad would have said.
Ugh. Goober.
My second scary story, or spooky, not really scary, depends on how you look at it. Hey, this was a few months after my grandfather died. We had moved my grandmother into the house we were living in. It was a 2-story house that we had moved into. And mine and my parents' rooms were upstairs. Nana's bedroom was downstairs. Okay. This was late at night, long after everyone was asleep. I had stayed up watching TV. I headed down the stairs to the kitchen to get some water. And as I came down the stairs, I could see the kitchen through the space where the stairs were. And I saw a black figure standing in my kitchen. I knew for a fact that it wasn't an actual person. No way anybody got into the house without me hearing, because I was awake and I didn't have the volume up on the TV loud. And that wasn't, I knew both my parents were asleep and my grandmother was asleep. And those was the only people in the house. I took one look at that big black figure and noped my way back up the stairs. Didn't get my water.
And where was that house at? This one?
Corpus.
Oh, man.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of energy in Corpus, man.
I was going to say, I've heard a
There's a
lot
lot of energy in
of
Corpus.
stories in Corpus.
Yorktown Hospital.
Well, for crying out loud, we have the Lexington
Yeah, the blue ghost of the Lexington.
ghost.
And
I've been on
then,
that.
yeah. Oh yeah, try spending the night there.
The
I would
house I
love to. Honestly, I would love to because unfortunately for me, I don't seem to get I don't get what other people get, you know, like they don't come see me
Yeah.
often. And I would really like to spend the night on the Lexington or in a haunted house just to feel that energy. You
Go
know,
to Victoria's Black Swan
yeah.
when they have one of their events, and walk through the first level of the house. I've been told she got rid of the dolls. So
Gotcha.
that brings me to the dolls and the Victoria Black Swan. I used to be a vendor there, first and third weekends, constantly there with, set up my tent down by the road and the gazebo with a bunch of other vendors down at the bottom. And we usually tended to stay the night because we all had big setups. So one of the events was an occasion for me to put one of my frilly dresses on, which everybody knows I like to do whenever I can. So we got everything all set up, gather up my dress. Wicket was with me at the time. Run up there. She's got a changing room for brides because they do a lot of weddings there. So she says, yeah, you can go ahead and use this room. Just go ahead and shut the door and, put the chair in front of it so nobody walks in on you. Okay, no problem. So I walk into this little bedroom, and she's got across the dresser all of these China dolls, these old dolls. I'm like, okay, those are kind of cute and kind of creepy. So I turn my back to them to start getting changed. And Wicket starts growling. He's looking behind me and he's growling. So I turn and look, didn't see anything. So I, got to putting my hose on and my undergarments, was reaching behind me to tie the corset strings, and I look over my shoulder in the mirror, and there's this dolly that I swear before didn't have a smile on her face. Now had a smile on her face.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay. So I decide that I am now going to turn and watch this doll while I'm getting dressed. Because, all the hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. So I looked at her, I put my dress over my head, and when I brought the dress back down, she was looking at me, and all the other dolls had their heads turned looking at me. I was up and out of that room so fast that left Wicket behind. They're like, what's the matter? I said, I need help tying my dress, that's all. Like, the dolls moved, didn't they? Maybe.
Thanks a lot.
As if that were me today, I would have looked at the dolls and said, try it. I don't put up with that anymore.
Well, let's say I took down all of the tents and all of the stuff in the gown because I refused to go back up to the house to change out of my gown.
Oh my goodness.
I had to go to the bathroom. I waited until I could go to the convenience store. I wasn't going to go back into the house.
Wow.
Dolls don't scare me.
Well, these were those old porcelain Victorian dolls.
I know.
And normally they don't scare me either, but they freaking moved.
That wouldn't bother me. Not anymore. I mean, there was probably a time when it would have, but the house I grew up in was full of what I wouldn't say malevolent energy per se, just always made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There was only one room in the house that I was able to go into, and I moved into it after my brother moved out. It was his bedroom. I wanted it to be my bedroom the first time we looked at the house. I remember looking at the house before we bought it. But no, my mom decided that would be his bedroom. I spent my entire childhood in that house, in my bedroom, with the door open, bathroom light in the hallway on. I could not sleep in the pitch black in that house. The first night I was in my brother's room, after he moved out and I moved in, I slept with lights off, door closed, happy as a clam.
Hmm.
And one thing that helped, the previous owners, and it was a fairly new house. It was only like 4 years old when we bought it.
Yeah.
Previous owners were a young Hispanic couple, and the room that had been my brother's had been their baby's room. So that room was probably blessed before they brought the baby home.
Yeah. But yeah, talking about Corpus Christi energy. We lived it was Ray Drive. We had just bought our house, and we had a church for our backyard neighbors. So much fun.
I bet.
So much fun. So one night I'm sitting in the dining room working on I was using my ex-husband's laptop because mine didn't want to work. And I kind of looked over to the left, and I looked like somebody was standing in our backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that can't be right. We just put a fence in. How can somebody be standing in our backyard? So I didn't think anything of it. And then I turned again. There's my kid in a freaking cowboy hat and a face mask going. I busted the window trying to hit him.
Oh man. Oh.
I didn't like sitting in that chair anymore.
Another corporate story. My brother, he used to work at the Ritz Theater, doing the lights and backstage stuff.
Okay.
He went one day before a show to move the lights around, right? And a previous show, I don't know, from that day or the day before, I think the day before, had left one of the spots up in the back of the audience, and it needed to be moved. Spot was on. He went to unplug it. It was already unplugged. It was lit and it was unplugged.
The Ritz is one of the hot spots in Corpus. Not there now. I've been told that Sunrise Mall is being demolished. But I worked at Halloween City there. And so it was always interesting because I would be like the first one there, the last one to leave, all sorts of things. And one of the things that we were supposed to do at the end of the night is we were supposed to pull all of the batteries out of the animatronics.
Oh no.
Oh yes. So I come in and I look on the desk, and there's the bag of batteries. Okay, sure, no problem. Got it, great. Okay. Start walking towards the animatronics. Every single one of them went off. I'm holding the bag of batteries. So our district manager didn't believe me. I'm like, fine, you come in when it's time to open up. And he's like, well, la da 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 da, you're just yada da 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 da. And it's just like, no, you get to come in. He's like, well, okay, fine, I'll meet you there, at 6 a.m. because I've got to go to a different city, yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, fine. So he gets there. I'm there at 6 a.m. He says, okay, let's go check out these animatronics. First thing I did is I handed him the bag of batteries. He says, what's this? I said, that's all the batteries from the animatronics. I took them out last night before I left. Sure you did. He's thinking I'm getting ready to prank him. I let him go in first, and he walked towards the animatronics. They all went off on him. He's like, you left the batteries in. So he pulls the first one, he opens it up, there's no batteries. None of them had batteries. He's like, okay, I think this is the last year we're going to be at this location.
Wow. Dude, that is crazy. My gosh.
And
Wow.
Corpus has a lot of energy.
Hmm.
The opposite to that, the first house I moved into in the Dallas-Fort Worth area was a
Mhm.
little bitty, 3 little bedrooms, 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
When my son was born, he got the smallest bedroom, which was a 9 foot by 9 foot square. Um, the weirdest thing about that house, even though everything grew, grass grew, rose bushes grew, everything, it felt so dead compared to every other house I had been in.
Mhm.
There was nothing. Absolutely. Like somebody had completely like sucked all there wasn't even negative energy. There was nothing.
No energy. Huh.
It was so weird.
I've heard of voids, but I've never actually experienced one.
Mhm.
The one thing about law enforcement and security work is you get to go into a lot of places that
Mhm.
at night or in the dark when nobody's there,
Mhm.
whole new level if it's already kind of creepy to begin with.
Mhm.
I was working off duty at Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri, and
Mhm.
it was my job to go lock up the buildings at the end of the night. It's like 10 o'clock at night. We have to go on,
Mhm.
students, go away, shoo. You have to do a room by room check. So my partner and I, we got to the theater and we're just like, okay, we're going to divide and conquer because last time this theater took a half an hour for us to clear.
Mhm.
So he heads one direction, go the other direction. We're checking all the doors, hey, you need to leave, da da da. Okay, walk them out, close the door behind them, go back and do the next room, next room, next room. So he tells me, go up on the catwalk and take a look down to make sure there's nobody hiding in the theater.
Mhm.
I'm like, why don't you do it? He's like, no, you do it. I'm like, he's gonna pull a prank on me. I hate heights. Just gonna throw that out there. I hate heights to begin with, and this is a catwalk that's 50 feet above.
Mhm.
And so I'm up there, and I look, and there's a shadow swinging on the curtain, and we've had a high incidence of students committing suicide. So I radio to him, and he's like, he comes out on the stage and he looks at me and he waves his hand. He says, there's nothing here. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, it's there. He's like, there's nothing here. And, we back and forth. One of the students had hung a quilt up to dry and had fallen off on one side. So it's just hanging there by a corner. And I told him, I said, I hate you, man. You get to do up top next. Yeah, they loved pranking me a lot, and I didn't trust any of them because there was a lot of energy off of that campus. I didn't like any of the buildings. Did not like any of them. And it didn't help that my first day there, they told me all the horror stories of all the different places of where there were ghosts and stuff, and I'm like,
You're like,
I
could you
really
have waited
didn't.
for my second day?
Yeah. Could you waited until like maybe closer to Halloween when I'm expecting you to tell me ghost stories?
I would have been a glutton for punishment. As much as I hate getting scared, if somebody told me that one of the buildings on campus, like at Del Mar, if I was living on a campus, and told me certain buildings were haunted, I would have made a point to go just because.
Yeah,
If I scare
exactly.
the crap out of myself and never go again, but whether anything happened or not.
Yeah.
And it's like for me, I mean, I get scared. I mean, there's been times I've been scared, but nothing, nothing major. And then it's like, I want to work in a haunted house, like an actual haunted house. Mm-hmm.
I've had so
I
many
help, huh?
I've had so many experiences. It's like I'd be surprised if I got scared anymore. Let me go to a haunted house now because I actually want to experience this stuff
Right.
and be conscious of it and thinking about it.
But yeah, somebody had posted in one of the book groups I'm in, if if they paid you like $1 million, would you stay the night in a haunted house? I was like, I'd do it for free.
Yeah. Mhm.
I would do it for free. Yeah, I would like the million, but I would really like the opportunity to go to a haunted house and stay for the night, you know?
Mhm.
But I help my friend with her haunted house like almost every year. And it's just, I do kind of get scared myself because they have set this up so good that they have a room that has fog
Mhm.
and you can't see below it.
Oh, wow.
That part freaks me out because he will pop up and he scares people as they're coming. And I'm like, that would be my favorite room to walk through because I want to be scared. But yeah.
Come here. If you're gonna get in on it, Vala, come here.
Aw.
Come on.
Are you going to tell us a ghost story? Huh?
Come on, Vala. Get up here and get involved. Oh.
Baby girl. Oh.
Bye.
She's like, love you, Mom. It's time for you to go lay down now.
You've been up too long. I want my orange thing, Mom. That's what I'm really after.
Oh, there she is.
Oh,
Hey, baby girl.
Here, you see my
he's your
kitty?
baby. He's your baby.
Yeah, it is my big girl. We're gonna have the animal photo bombs again.
All of mine are just like back there chilling.
Oh, look, it's a
Such
kitty.
a cute cat. I love her coloring.
Yeah.
I love orange tabbies. I think they're so cute.
Are we good now?
Hey.
Look at the belly.
We got fat kitty baby.
She's like, come on, Mom.
Yep.
You gotta go lay down, Mom. Come on.
Yep. I am being told that I need to end the meeting. So let me do this and we're going to
Stop.
already